Hey, what's up guys, Jared here, and today we're going to be working on Realm Mobile Database. Now, if you have absolutely no idea what Realm Mobile Database is, it's a way for you to manage and store your data inside of your application in a neat and also a memory efficient way. So with my application tag that we recently just added Realm into, previously we were seeing memory levels if we were clicking on the same post over and over again. We just see memory levels grow. Hey, my app's in review, yay! And now that we've incorporated Realm, when you click on a post over and over again, that data is all the same, so we don't actually grow in data other than what we already had. So today we're going to be looking into how we can use Realm with Firebase. You can use any backend really, if you're using an RSS feed or whatever. You grab data all the same, and really what you're doing is taking that data and plunk it into Realm Mobile Database. Now, if you want to skip the whole Firebase part, here's the timestamp, but also we're going to be setting up CocoaPods. So if you don't have CocoaPods set up, just watch this little first part and then skip to this timestamp. You need CocoaPods for both Firebase and Realm. Anyway, let's go. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and set up our Xcode project. So I'm going to go ahead, click Xcode, create a new Xcode project. This will be a single view application. Go ahead, click Next. Product name, go ahead and call this whatever you want, but keep in mind that this bundle identifier right here, especially if you're using Firebase here, you're going to be using this bundle identifier, so just keep in mind. And then we're going to go ahead and set the language to Swift, and we don't want to use core data or any of this stuff, so we're good to go. So go ahead, click Next, and Create. All right, so here we are inside of our application. The next thing I want to do is go ahead, open up Terminal, and now we're going to go ahead and Now here we are inside of our application. We're actually just going to minimize this for the time being. Head into Safari here, and we're just going to install CocoaPods. So you're going to head over here to cocoapods.org, and inside of here, you can just go ahead and install. All you want to do is take the sudo gem install CocoaPods and plunk that right into Terminal. And then you're all good to go. I already have it installed, so I'm just going to hit LS to see where I am, CD, and then I want to go to the directory of my desktop, because that is where my file is stored. LS, and then CD Realm 2. LS to see where I am again. And then once you're in here that you can see realm2.xcode project, wherever you called it, then you can just say pod init. And then that's going to go ahead and add, if we click on Realm 2 here, you can see that it adds this pod file. Now, if you've never used CocoaPods, all it is you plunk in which pods you want to add, and it's going to add that right into your Xcode project. So what we can do is double click on pod file, and then for this, I'm just going to delete everything from pods for Realm 2 to this end, not this last end here, and we're just going to delete that. You want to make sure that the use frameworks is in there though, because we are using Swift. So first we're going to go ahead and install Firebase, then we'll come back and do Realm as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say pod Firebase, hit Command S to save that, and then once we go back to Terminal here, we can just say pod install. And that should go ahead and install everything having to do with Firebase, and we're good to go. And then now that once we have all that figured out, let's head back over to firebase.google.com. Inside of here, we're going to go to the console. We're going to go ahead and add a new project. I'm going to go ahead and call this Realm 2, just to stick with the theme. And then we're going to go ahead and create that project. Then once we're in here, you should be able to see this Welcome to Firebase, get started here. Add Firebase to your iOS application. Go ahead, put that in there. Now for your iOS bundle ID, I have mine set to archetype.realm2. If you don't know what your bundle ID is, head over here to your Xcode project. Head over here to the top here, and you can see archetype.realm2. Then once you have that in there, you can go ahead and register the application. Download the Google service info.plist. And we're going to take this file here, but first we need to go ahead and close out of our Xcode project. And the reason we need to do that is because with pod files, it creates a workspace. Rather than an Xcode project, now you have two Xcode projects in this workspace, one to hold your pods and one to hold your project. So we can go ahead and say realm2.xcode workspace. And then now inside of here, you can see Realm 2, and your pods are down here as well. What we're going to do is we just downloaded this file, so I'm going to go ahead and take this file, and we're just going to plunk that right into my Xcode project. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we're right in there. Copy items if needed, make sure that is selected, otherwise you will probably get an error. And also you wanted to make sure that it was targeting your application. So now we can say finish, and we're good to go. Now with Firebase, we just downloaded this Google service info.plist. This will hold all the information you need for Firebase to communicate to your app properly. So we're good. And now go back over to Firebase, continue, and then now we just need to go ahead and add this. We already added that, so now continue. Head back over to your application, head over here to your appdelegate.swift, and I'm just going to say import Firebase. And then inside of our did finish launching with options, I'm just going to say for app Firebase app.configure. And once you're all done with that, you can go head back over here to Firebase, hit finish, and we're good to go. Now this is the database. Now inside of Firebase, this is the database that we're going to be pulling from. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. So in here, this is going to be your database. This is where we're going to pull that data from into Realm. So now what I hope to do with this is grab data from this database and plunk that into Realm Mobile Database. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Just head to the link in the description down below. It'll take you right over to the Swift documentation, which is also a very good read for those learning. It helped me with a lot. So just head to that link, and then once we're here, we can scroll down to installation. So now installation, you're just going to go ahead and install by saying pod realm swift. So we're going to go ahead and take that Command C, head back over here to our pod file, Command C, Command V right into that, and boom. So now we have both of those pods in there. Let's go ahead, head over here to our terminal, and I'm going to say pod install. And now that's going to install Realm for me. And then once we're all Gucci with that, we can head over here to my Realm 2, and then this is the Xcode project, of course. So I'm going to go ahead, make that a bit bigger. And now we get into the nitty gritty of all this stuff. So first off, let's head over here into my main.storyboard. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that first view controller in there. I'm going to go ahead and add a table view controller right into that. And then now we're going to open up our view controller.swift, go to the class here, and I'm just going to call this my table view controller, colon, and then I'm going to say this is my UI table view controller. Like so. We're just creating a table view for this data that we're grabbing to load into. So we're going to hit Command S to save that file, head back over here to my main.storyboard, click on the table view controller, head over here to my identity inspector, go to the class, and we can just put in table view controller. And that should connect this view controller with that of the view controller.swift that we just created. So now with this, I'm going to go ahead and take this table view controller, and I'm also going to add it as my initial view controller just over here in your attributes inspector. And we're good. So now we can head back over here to my view controller.swift. We have everything set up. And also another thing we want to add is pod Firebase. We also want to just copy that, and then we want to add just /database right after that. Hit Command S to save that, and then go ahead and run a pod install with that. So now we can start importing Realm and Firebase database right into this so we can get into the nitty gritty of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and import my Firebase database, and I'm going to also import my Realm. Now something you might have to do, I'm doing Xcode 9, so if you want to work with this, you can update to recommended settings, perform that update, and then that should help with the recognizing of Realm Swift into your project if it's not noticing it. This was happening to me, so I'm thinking it might happen to you as well. So that's what fixed it. As soon as I updated my settings there, it now lets me import Realm. So I'm just going to type in import Realm Swift. All right, now in addition to this file, we're also going to go ahead and create a new file. And I like to keep these files separate just because it makes it a little bit easier, but you can keep them in the same if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new Swift file, and we'll call this my Realm Objects. Go ahead and create that. And then now instead of my Realm Objects here, we're going to import Realm Swift. Now inside of Realm, the big kicker of all this is creating an object. It's a Realm object. So what we need to do is create specific Realm objects to manage our data. So I'm going to say class, and then this class name right here is going to be whatever you want. I want to call this my user. So my user, I know, is going to have a name and a number. But for our superclass here, you're just going to type in capital O object. And this object here is created inside of Realm. Now, if you want to add a variable inside of our user, you can just say @objc or Objective-C. This is going to be dynamic. And then you're going to say var name colon string question mark equal, and we'll set this equal to nil for the time being. So basically what this is we have an Objective-C object. So I'm not truly understanding why you need to have Objc in front of it. You just need to do that now. But dynamic here is very important because if you don't add that in there, your name is always going to be equal to nil. So that dynamic just, I guess, allows it to maintain whatever value you give it in the future. And of course, this name colon string, we're setting it as a string, and then you have to have that question mark at the end to have it optional. and then we just set that equal to nil because we need to have some sort of value if we're setting it to optional. So there we go. That is one part of that down. Now, in order to store numbers, it gets a little bit interesting. So you need to say var my number will be equal to realm optional, and then you're just going to say open close alligators, and then inside of that you're just going to go ahead and put in an integer and then just close that up like so with open close parentheses. So as you can see, we handled numbers very differently compared to it. Basically, realm optional in and of itself just handles things exactly as we do here. I'm not too sure why they have to make us do that, but for whatever reason, we do. We have to add realm optional around integers. And there's also a different way of handling realm optionals that I'll show you in the future, but it's very simple. Okay, so now that we are here inside of our table view, I'm gonna go ahead and create a function that's gonna grab that data from Firebase. I'm gonna go ahead and say open close parentheses and like so. Then for this, I'm gonna go ahead and grab that data. So I'm gonna say var database reference will be equal to my database.reference, and then down here I'm going to say database ref.child, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to go on a tiny rant right here. So with this path string right here, this is something that's a placeholder. It's something that you are able to type in and boom, it's gone. What I used to do is just start typing in, oh, I want a string there, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in quotation marks around that. But as you can see, it just adds quotation marks around that object that's highlighted. I recognize this is going to be helpful in certain instances, but it's terrible in instances like this, and I find it super annoying. So let me know, did you guys want that feature? Because I hate it. That's what I think. Anyway, back to the video. So inside of there, we're going to go ahead and put in the users, as you can see. As you can see inside of my database here, I have users, and then I'm going to grab the data that I added in there. .observe. With the event type, this is what kind of data you want to grab. You can add child added or the value. Because we are trying to grab all the values inside of my users, I'm going to say .value. Do whatever you want. But with the database snapshot here, I'm just going to say open close curly bracket. See, an instance is like that. So we're just going to delete that, and then you see open curly bracket, close curly bracket at the end here, and then I'm just going to say snapshot in. And then now I'm going to filter out through all these snapshots and add the data into my Realm mobile database. And now we're going to go in the snapshot here, and we're going to sort through all the users that have been created. So I'm going to go ahead and say for snap in snapshot.children.all objects as open close brackets right there, and then inside of this is going to be data snapshot. And then open curly bracket, close curly bracket like so. And now this is where we start adding things into the Realm database. So this is the fun part. So I actually set up my data a little bit wrong, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete that real quick. And this is the way that I really want to set up my data. So I'm going to say users, and then we're going to add that, and then I'm going to add Jared, and then we're going to add him in there with some more values inside of Jared. I'm just going to say age, let's say 19. And then for my second value, I'm just going to go ahead and add, let's say, my name in there as Jared as well. I could just grab that from my snap.key, but I'm going to be doing that. So take that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this for snap and snapshot, all this objects here. I'm going to take this snap and convert it into a dictionary that is very parsable. So I'm going to say guard let dictionary equal, and I'm going to say snap dot value as question mark open close brackets like so, and then you just put string any object like so. And then now we can go ahead and put in an else statement right after this, and then open close curly brackets. And then if there's an else statement there, we're just going to return to avoid any errors. And there we have it. Now we have a dictionary that we can grab our values from. So we know that we have age and name as a value. So I'm going to go ahead and say var name will be equal to my dictionary dot, or open bracket, close bracket, and then this is just going to be my name. And then I'm going to also have var age will be equal to my dictionary, open close bracket, and then inside of here we're going to put age. And then we also want to know what kind of variables we're grabbing. We know for a fact that this one is going to be as a string, and then we also know that this one is going to be as an integer. So now that we have our var name and age, let's go ahead and create a realm object and write that to realm. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to say var let's say my user to add will be equal to, and then we have a realm object called our user here. If we jump to the definition, you can see that class user object, this is of course our realm object. Open close parentheses on that, and then you just say user to add dot name will be equal to, and let's just go ahead and put in my name. Now, also one thing I wanted to fix super quick is changing this number here to age. So save that, head back, and now we have user to add dot age dot value. So this is what you need to handle a little bit differently. So with name, you just set the name, but because we are using a realm optional, you need to say dot age dot value will be equal to, and then I'm going to put that equal to my age there, and we should be good to go. Now that we have this object created, what we need to do with this object now is write it to realm. So what this means is realm actually creates a file that everything is written into. And it's pretty sweet. So you can actually view that file. We'll do that in a minute. But we just need to write this object to the realm file. Now what I like to do is create an extension. So I'm going to say extension with my user here. Open close curly brackets like so. And then I'm going to say func write to realm. Open close parentheses. Open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And I actually got a little bit too hasty earlier. So what we need to do is actually head over here into my appdelegate.swift, and we need to first create that realm file. So I'm going to go ahead and say import realm swift right into my appdelegate.swift. Hit Command S to save. And then I'm going to go ahead and say var UI realm will be equal to try, and then this is going to be realm, open close parentheses like that. And now that is our realm file. And you can actually have multiple realm files and other things like that. It's very helpful to organize your data. We're just going to be using one file in this case, but yeah, that's how you would just create a realm file as you see. Now let's head back over here and let's write to that realm file. So I'm going to go ahead and say try UI realm dot write, and then inside of here I'm going to say UI realm dot add, in the which we're going to add either object or objects, update, or whatnot. You can add whatever you want, but I'm going to go ahead and add this singular object. I'm going to go ahead and add the object of self, like so. And now let's head back. And now all we need to do is with this user to add, I can say user to add dot write to realm. And that's going to go ahead and take that user, write it to realm, and we can actually see him inside of our realm file. So let's go ahead, and one thing I forgot to do is say view did load. And when the view loads, I'm going to go ahead and grab the data. So it's just going to call this function here. Now let's go ahead and build and run this, and let's see what we've got. And also something I want to note is in order to grab your realm file, it's a little bit harder. You want to look it up online. It's a little bit harder to, if you run this in your simulator, to grab those realm files. But as far as running it on your iPhone goes, it's pretty dead simple. So I was facing this error where it wasn't recognizing my Google info.p list. If you're getting that same error, just right click on realm 2 and say add files to realm 2. So just go ahead and do that, and that'll solve your issue. Shout out to the person who made me solve that. Link in the description if you want to go give him a thumbs up, I guess. An up vote on Stack Overflow right there. Boom. But anyway, the application built and ran, but I had an issue. I also have an issue where it's not grabbing from my database. I think that's just because of my rules. So I'm going to go ahead and say read and all this stuff will be equal to true. Read true and write true, just like that. That fixes everything. So now I'm going to go ahead and publish that. And now let's go ahead and build and run our application like so. It says your security rules are defined as public. Anyone can read or write to your database. That's fine for tutorial purposes, but normally don't do this. All right, so I'm building and running this again, and let's see if we have any data loading up properly. So I added some breakpoints just to make sure, but we should be able to print out a snapshot. As you can see, we have our users, Jared, age, name, Jared, all of that. Now let's go ahead and see if actually this was written to our realm file. Head over here to your window, and then devices and simulators. And then once you're inside of here, just go ahead, click on the application you're working on, head down to the bottom, go to the settings, this little settings tab down here, and say download the container. Then download it wherever you want. Then once it's downloaded, you're just going to go ahead and say show package contents. It's going to open something like this, open up your app data, and you should be able to see underneath documents, you have default.realm, default.realm.lock, all of this stuff. And this is all the information you need. Now, another thing that I didn't mention yet is if you haven't downloaded it, just head over, just search for Realm browser. And this is actually going to allow you to look through the Realm data. I already have it downloaded, so just go ahead and do that. But it's downloadable on the Mac App Store, so just go ahead and download it yourself. But let's go ahead and open up my default.realm. And then it's going to ask for permission, so go ahead and allow it. And you should be able to see in here that you have your user, but one thing you'll notice is the name and the age are both nil. So the problem was during my troubleshooting, I erased this .childUsers. So go ahead and make sure database ref.childUsers.observe single event of value, and we should be all good to go. So look in our app data, documents, default.realm, allow, and now we can see that we have name is Jared and the age is 19. We did it! Now another thing you can see is this Realm data is actually being saved one on top of another. So we still have those nil values. So everything is being stored in the background and everything is working properly. Sweet. So I did want to dive a little bit farther into this, but we're going to have to save that for part 2 of this, in which we're going to look into querying and also saving only one object. Like if we were to build and run this again, it'd keep saving Jared instead of updating the variables as we go along. So that's another thing that we're going to look into another day. Anyway, hopefully this did help you in getting started with Realm Mobile Database. Let me know if it did in the comments below. If there's any tips that you would like me to know before Saturday, which is when part 2 will be coming out, let me know that in the comments below as well. By the way, new schedule for videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so be there or be square. Finally need to get on this schedule, and I'm finally glad I am. That schedule is going to stick at least for this month. And then at the beginning of November, I'm actually going to start vlogging. Anyway, I'm talking too long. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.